Welcome back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name is Courtney Shand, and I'm hosting with my dear friend, Brianna Mosher.
Hello.
And the intention of the show is to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics in the dating space, relationships, all of the relational contexts. So we have some really great episodes planned out for you. Today's especially I'm excited about. But before we dive in,
It's like the beginning of our season 2.
I know. We're going to call it season 2.
Why not?
Season 2. And we're so glad that you guys are back with us. Thank you for all of your support in season 1. We had some really great stuff in season 1. We're excited for season 2. And I want to introduce you to my friend Bri if you're new. She's incredibly gifted at all things. I'll let her
Thank you.
explain what she does.
Just incredibly
All
gifted.
things, period.
That's it. No, my work in the world is helping mostly female entrepreneurs to start and scale their businesses through embracing their feminine energy. But not just entrepreneurs, really the ambitious, driven career woman, right? The woman who feels more comfortable in her masculinity. And in that masculine energy, I help her come back into her body, her sexuality, and really unleash that part of herself, her emotionality, her intuition. And if you have a business you want to scale at the same time, I mean, that's a lot of fun too. To work on marketing, sales, all the things together. So that is the work that I do in the world, and Courtney and I have similar work, but as I always say, uniquely different. Tell the people your magic.
Yes, I'm a trauma-informed relationship dietitian. All of the things. I really do a lot of work in body-based healing of your relationship with food, how you care for and tend to your body. That dynamic is one that I love helping women heal. And then I also love helping men and women feel more empowered and confident in what they bring to the table when it comes to dating and relationships. Healing and activating their own masculine energy allows them to authentically express either their innate masculine energy and or more of their feminine energy from an empowered place. That brings the right people to you, and you can trust that. So that is what I do in the world. I love that, and we've got some good stuff today.
And what do we do in the world?
What
On
do
For
we
the
not
Love
do?
of Men podcast.
What do we not do? I think what we do is we bring that synergy, all of those knowledge bases of health and business and content creation and expression and
Intimacy, dating, relating,
body-based awareness, somatic work. We have enough overlap. I think that this show is really just like the best of all of the things.
and so unique in the podcast space,
Yeah.
because our mission from the beginning, part of it has been to help men and women see each other in a new light, in an empowered light, in an equal light, and celebrate the feminine and masculine energy that we all have individually, and then also in your partner. If you're someone who desires a feminine partner, a masculine partner, and you want to hold the opposite pole, which is what we're going to talk about today, that's what we teach on this show, is how to do that in an authentic, empowered, non-put-on showmanship way. Really healthy integration of both energies.
Yeah, to create that third way forward.
Yes.
We're not going backwards into an old patriarchy paradigm, and we're not going into the opposite, which
Hating.
is just the same in a different form of hating men and thinking that women are better or superior in any way. It's a new way forward where we both get to be even more authentically expressed.
Well said.
How exciting.
Some would say the most exciting work on the planet. And by some, I mean me and Courtney. And our moms.
And our moms. and maybe our dads and friends
And
and
our
partners
friends.
and
Our
us.
TikTok following and our podcast following.
Everyone.
We're just excited to be back. That's why we're rambling.
We have lots of energy here. So, okay, let's dive in.
Yes.
Today's episode is a review of polarity, what we mean by polarity, what that looks and feels like on both sides, and also how that is different energetically than behavioral expression. What we're really talking about when we talk about energy, masculine and feminine energy, is not the same as gender expression, and that's something that we get some pushback or need clarification on all the time. And so we wanted to clarify, because it is distinctly different than a gender or a behavioral expression, and we're going to give some examples of what we mean by that.
I love that you started with that, because that is another thing that's unique about our work and about this show is we're not just saying men and women, XYZ behaviors and energy. We very much separate. Sex is how you were born, right? Gender is a social construct of expression, and masculine and feminine energy is something completely different to both of those things. So listen with that lens as you go through the episodes, because that will really help you get to the heart of our message. But the way that we teach it is that everyone has internal masculine and feminine energy, and healthy integration is the way forward, even if you are dominantly one energy or the other. And you get to decide what feels the most authentic to you. But we do often speak in terms of men and women. It's not because they're the same thing. It's really just for ease of communication. So
yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I was also going to say this is important to distinguish, because we were socialized in different contexts.
Yes.
And so there will be similar woundings that happen for men and for women that are very distinct and different, and it can inhibit your natural expression of energy. That's why we parse this out so much, and I think that's important, because we can say men and women all the time, and what we're talking about is more, I think, more about the experience that you've had that may limit you from integrating more of your feminine energy or integrating more of your masculine energy, and challenging those experiences now from an adult perspective, a more integrated, empowered perspective on what that looks like to create your own way forward now based on what was reality.
Jeez.
Thanks.
Now that we've cleared it all up,
Squeaky clean.
let's get into it. So the reason that we teach masculine and feminine energy in the first place, why does it matter? Number one, it's your authentic expression, right? It's about being who you know yourself to be, where you feel the most at home, what energies you feel the most empowered and confident in. And that's the micro perspective for you to integrate your own masculine, feminine energy. And then in relationship with another person, and just for ease, we'll speak of women dating men or men dating women, of how you relate to the other person and how you hold one pole and they hold the other to create chemistry. That's the value of polarity.
Yeah, that spark, that like pull, I call it sticky, but a good sticky, like a
sounds like an
rubber band. I know. Like a rubber band, kind of like pulling you, magnetism, that
tension,
invisible tension. Thank you. Yes, that is what we are wanting when we are dating, because that creates the kind of sexual attraction. It brings online more of the adult engaging within relationship.
Yeah, I would agree. And there's also another level we haven't talked about, which is the emotional intimacy that becomes available and just how it serves the emotional connection. Let's say you have a woman who's inner masculine but wants to be inner feminine, and a man who's in his feminine but wants to be more in his masculine. That relationship is going to have a lot of conflict, because you're battling for the same thing but you're speaking different languages. And usually our brains, we're so smart and complex as human beings, are making up all these ways to, I'm just going to call it what it is, manipulate to get what we want. And we want to teach you how to graduate into empowered energies together. So there's no manipulation. Is there conflict and repair? Heck
In my
yeah.
experience.
Heck yeah. We're not saying this is the roadmap out of conflict. Because conflict is natural. Ruptures are natural in relationship, but how you navigate them will either bring you closer or pull you further apart. So
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that, because I think a lot of us grew up with an idea, even subtly in our kind of subconscious, that that conflict is bad. Conflict is dangerous. Conflict means the relationship has to end or is ending. That's at least what a lot of my clients have, that like built-in belief in their body. And so coming at it from an elevated perspective of, it's actually really empowered to have conflict, and there's an empowered way to do conflict. We did a whole masterclass on it,
which everyone we recommend should purchase.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
Lifetime access.
It was gold. I think it was gold. But empowered conflict is actually the way forward for healing. Healing happens in a situation that is contrast to what you knew, and allows you to step into a new paradigm where you are able to express your needs and have them honored. You're able to set a boundary and have it be seen. You're able to not agree with someone and not mean that you're wrong. Like, there's lots of healing that can happen that we need to have happening. As adults, we need to have these skills to keep moving forward for the next generation to be healthy and healing as well.
Yeah, agreed. And conflict is where intimacy is born. If you do repair work well in your partnership, that is what will bring you closer. Not always. You don't have to have conflict to be brought closer, but is conflict always a gateway for more intimacy? Yes. The opportunity is always there.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's the benefit of masculine and feminine, is this both of you being at home in your bodies and in your expression, feeling supported by your partner in that. And I mean, if you want to speak a little on this, I feel like it would help people, but Courtney desires a masculine partner, has a masculine partner. How does it feel for you as the feminine when he's in his masculine and supporting, creating that space for you to be in your full expression of femininity? What's that like for your relationship?
I mean, first of all, it feels like my heart is expanding, just like glowing, like I am made for this. This is fully me. I get to show up. I don't have to hide. I don't have to like moderate or, play smaller than I am. Like, I just trust there's like a solidarity that I can trust that this is something that I can like put weight on when you're with your counterpart. I don't know what it's like to be the masculine and do that with the feminine, but as the feminine, that is what it feels like. It's this like sturdiness that you get to like stand on, dance on, express from. Like, you just feel this expansiveness, this like big energy that gets to come online that maybe that's not always been the case with partners. Sometimes it has been this kind of like power struggle. When you're with an empowered partner, empowered masculine partner, it very much feels like this is the foundation on which we get to get bigger. I get to be more expressed. I get to ask for more. I get to play larger. I get to have more needs met. I get to get more support than ever before. That's what it feels like. For the partnership itself, the way that benefits the partnership is that now I get to show up more as myself. He's actually meeting a version of me that is the most honest, raw, authentic version of me, which is naturally going to create the most attraction. You're going to be able to see your partner differently. You're going to be able to see parts of them that you hadn't seen before. And like my partner always says, like, I love that I get to see this part of you. No one else gets to see this part of you. It creates a new layer of intimacy where because of the support that I receive from him, I in return am able to express and reveal parts of me that other people don't have access to. It's kind of this intimacy. I don't know what else to describe it as. It's like a version of our little world that we're creating together, where he's showing up and I'm showing up, and as I'm showing up, it's reflecting back ways for him that are that he's never been received or never been with a partner who has been able to express, a need cleanly, or, things that are new experiences for them as well.
It really does create your own little bubble of intimacy. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, but like, there are parts of Courtney that I will never see because I'm not her masculine partner. I'm one of her tier 1 friends.
It's a joke.
But he'll see a side of her that I'll never see because of his masculine energy allowing for her expression of truly who she is. And I still get to see her femininity, but not in the same way a masculine partner does. I wonder if the same is true for men. I have to assume, maybe. But if you're a male listener and you feel like weighing in,
let us know.
Please feel free to let us know what that's like for you. And there are parts that only come out for me when I'm with my masculine partner and just don't come out in friendship or family dynamics. So it becomes this really sacred container, and that is intimacy, is you get the revealed vulnerability and essence of a person that maybe not everyone else gets to see. And isn't that kind of part of the draw to a romantic relationship?
Wow, such a good point. That is always what women say that they want. I want to share my life with someone I'm in. I want to share my life, my building what I've built. I want to be able to share parts of me with someone.
Yeah.
I think that's a human need for connection, for intimate connection.
Yeah.
To be seen intimately, to see someone else and love someone else, to have an exchange of affection and needs being met that are deeper than just surviving.
Yes.
Co-surviving. We're not looking for co-surviving anymore.
Thriving and your full authentic expression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So another highlight of polarity and why it's so important is, exactly that. You bring out the best in each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what we teach on the show is to help you graduate from wounded tendencies into empowered tendencies in the most shame-free environment that we know to create. A little healthy guilt, remorse, okay, but everyone has human parts, wounded parts, so we're not here to make those wrong. But we are here to offer you elevated ways of being in your relationship so you can bring the best out of yourself, see the best out of meet the best parts of yourself, and out of your partner.
How do you do that?
It's a really layered, loaded question.
Hand it to you.
It's all 100 a day.
No pressure.
Just joking. How do you bring the best out? I think, how do I bring the best out in my masculine partner? I'm sure we'll do full-on episodes on this. But number one, believing in his power. Believing in his capability to create his life, to lead the relationship, to speak that power over him, also to hold him accountable when I notice that he's not in that full place, not from a mothering tendency, which we'll talk about in future episodes on wounded masculine and women, from this place of the man I love, I know how you show up when you're showing up fully. And there's some stuff happening and you've got it, I trust you, but I'm just, and if it affects me, that accountability for our relationship too. Also by being in my feminine essence and taking responsibility for nurturing that on my own outside of the relationship, that keeps us from slipping into wounded parts. Healthy communication with each other, with your own self-talk. I could go on and on. Yeah.
I love that.
What would you say? How do you bring the best out?
I was just thinking from an integrated perspective, integrating more of your seeing the counterpart, seeing your the opposite partner's energy calls forth opportunity for more of your energy in that way, not in a combative way, but the more he sees you in your empowered feminine energy, the more inspiring it is. Wow, it's safe to express emotions. What a gift. I would say that man to man, that's not the dynamic that's created. With two masculine energies, it's not necessarily, that's, I would think, not available. Same thing if we're both in our, as I'm seeing him go out in the world and create something and just kick ass and take names, it's wow, I feel really empowered to ask for more things, or to reach out for more support, or to say, hey, I want to create this, will you help me, and really team up. So it's kind of an inspirational thing too, where it naturally allows you to integrate and be inspired to integrate more of the opposite energy within yourself. I propose that going first, of bringing those things online to integrate and bring that to the relationship, and the relationship container gets to be a place where those get to be deeper embodied.
Yeah, well said. And it's the same for the fact, I really feel like the best of me comes out when my partner is in his empowered masculine, as Courtney described earlier, so I won't reiterate too much, but I come alive. To soften, to lean back, to receive, to be playful, to be in my sensuality, to be in my body, to trust that I'm wanted, to feel that I'm wanted. All those wounded tendencies just go out. Which is not to put it on your partner to make you feel that way, because there's a big level of self-accountability and self-work that's always required in a conscious relationship. But when he's in his masculine power, I can just melt. And doesn't the best of me come forward that way? I feel the most at home in that space. And even more well-equipped to deal with wounds and wounded tendencies when they come up.
Ooh, yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
What would you say has maybe been surprising as you've gotten into this work, as you have been doing it in real time, with a masculine energy partner, like what would you say is different in terms of how masculine energy is what you thought masculine energy was versus what masculine energy is and how you identify it now?
That's such a great question. Feels like a two-part question.
Right.
So I'm going to try to put a pin in the second half because I go on tangents.
Good.
How masculine energy has changed in my eyes, but then the first is how kind of polarity teaching has changed in my eyes.
Well, that too, sure.
I mean, just as you were talking, the first thing that coming to mind is it's just not linear. This is not like a PhD that you get and then you have it forever. You're forever in a polarized relationship. It is truly moment by moment shifting in and out, attunement to yourself, attunement to your partner, really deep attunement to where you might both be leaking, and navigating that with grace. And it's just not always graceful. You know, it's just conscious work to keep polarity in an empowered space in your relationship. It's not linear. And I think I was a lot more black and white thinking. The idea of polarity in masculine and feminine is very different than the felt experience. Courtney and I keep talking about that all day today. The idea is, well, I'll be my feminine and I'll just like lean back and receive and play, and he'll be his masculine and he'll lead the relationship, he'll pursue, he'll plan. That works until you have a trigger and you're in your wounded feminine and manipulating, and he goes into his wounds of, let's say, I don't know, seeking control, or maybe it's domineering in his wounded masculine, and now you're all like, wait, we messed it up, do we need to throw it away? Should we both bail? Are we equipped?
What
yes, you're equipped.
Right.
This is just part of the learning process. I wish I knew that sooner.
So good. Because what, sorry, just to piggyback on that real quick, is
go ahead.
The dynamic that you were talking about is actually just a parent-child.
Yeah.
It keeps us from ever having to look at and integrate the other pieces that allow us to rise into our adult energy and come online as a fully autonomous adult. If he's the planning, provider, protector, like he's taking care of everything and I just get to lean back and play, I need to bring more of my masculine energy online to integrate and set some boundaries and say, hey, this is what I'm actually needing. Let's go this way. There's a really healthy, empowered, feminine way of doing that. And it does require you to look at your masculine energy and the relationship that you have with it, or else you won't set the boundaries. You'll just lose yourself in this childlike dynamic. And he is going to, of course, respond as a wounded masculine kind of parent. Like, why aren't you behaving? I've been doing X, Y, and Z. And you've just created roles now. You've not created polarity dynamic. You've just created roles where you're both safe in not challenging your wounds.
If I could pick up the mic and drop it.
Yeah.
So brilliant.
Well, thank you.
It's so brilliant. I lost my train of thought. I was going to healthy integration. That's the other piece that Courtney's kind of nodding at. So I'm just going to take the layup here. Sports reference #1 of season 2. You're welcome. So ironic that we both did very sport orientated. Okay, anyway.
I think that's why they're attracted to us, because we're so sporty.
Opposites attract. Polarity 101. But not Courtney and I, because we wear the same color, we have the same human design, we have the same horoscope sign, astrological sign.
I mean, integration. Back on track. Great job. You did a great job distracting us. This is Bree's job.
My job is to sidetrack us. It's up on our whiteboard of ideas. Bree, sidetrack. Because I always remember things.
Courtney, take notes.
I have to.
Sidetrack.
I'll just say, Courtney, I have to tell you this. A little ping pong in my head. Okay.
I love it.
Healthy integration is so when I came into polarity work, I thought it was very masculine, feminine partner, masculine man, and not at all the case. It is about healthy integration. We all have masculine and feminine energy, and there will be points in a polarized dynamic where you as the woman will be in your masculine and he'll be in the feminine, and you'll be holding space for his emotions. You'll be doing the planning. There'll be times where he has a bad day, he has an injury, he has stuff coming up, and you flip for a minute. And then there's also an art to repolarizing again, not going into mothering tendencies or trying to save him or A lot of us, when we get in our wounded feminine, can have codependent dynamics. So, but what I now know is really the healthiest partnerships support and celebrate integration while they still nurture polarity.
Ooh.
At least
and while it's happening.
Yeah, while it's happening.
Wow,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Wow.
So, I mean, that's the same thing as what's changed about masculinity for me, right? This painted idea of masculinity to lead, to plan, to take initiative, to do this. And I've said it on the show many times. When I was dating people, my number one requirement became emotional intelligence, which societally we are not socialized to see that as a masculine quality. And if you don't have that quality, if a man is not integrated with his feminine energy, he'll be very wounded masculine. That's when you're going to see more narcissistic tendencies, maybe full-blown NPD, or just wounded masculine, but he won't have empathy, compassion, sensitivity, intuition, the being in his bodiness, able to be with you present in the bedroom, to attune to your body, to what you need. Like, you're not going to get that quality that women crave, that sensitivity, if you're not dating an integrated man, which means the ask is for men and women to start celebrating the expression of healthy feminine energy in men, even if it's 30-70, like some of that time he expresses it. If he's not integrated, the partnership is not going to thrive the way that it could, in my experience.
Give an example of what healthy integration of feminine energy looks like. I know you mentioned empathy and compassion and emotional intelligence. Is there like a real-time example of what you would know, wow, that this is what I need to celebrate? He's expressing it right now.
Yeah, healthy. Well, I think it's a lot of things, especially the attunement piece. I think I noticed the most, but like a good example of this, and this probably wasn't him totally in his feminine, but there was a moment where I was feeling really triggered, and it was raw because we weren't separating, we were spending the night together, and then my trigger came up. And so there's like no hiding it. And my wounded parts, my coping mechanism, yours is similar to mine, I think.
Probably.
I'll go like deal with it myself.
Yeah.
I'll go clean it up on my own, and then I'll bring it back to you when it's pretty and packaged, and say, I worked through this trigger. But that was not available. Exactly. That was not available at that moment. And he was so attuned to me, like, what's wrong? I can tell something's up. What's wrong? And my body was like, you will say nothing.
Intuition was coming online for him.
Yes.
Wow.
And it was really beautiful because he was kind of like opened up the space and I retracted. And he opened up the space again, like, yeah, I can really feel like, I feel like you might cry any second. And I was like, no.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Good over here. That kind of energy. And then I was finally able to say, I'm just all I could squeak out, which is women will get, the feminine in us really all gets this, was, I'm feeling really sad. I had to go so rudimentary. Feeling really sad. Why are you feeling sad? I was like, do you ever just have moments where you feel like you're not good enough? And the voice in your head tells you you're not good enough, even though you know you're good enough, but it just keeps saying that to you. And he was like, yes. Wow. I do have that voice. I'm feeling that right now because when you said XYZ. Wow. So, and then we were able to like really, and the next thing I did was just emote. I just cried. And he was so sweet. He like pulls me in on it, puts my head on his chest, and he starts singing to me, You Are My Sunshine. I'm not even joking, which is a reference. My grandmother used to sing us this song when we were kids. And he starts singing to me and he's patting my hair, and then I'm laughing because we know it's close to home, and he's laughing, and it just kind of like really took the charge out of something that felt like bum, 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 bum in my body. And he actually verbalized to me. I could feel, he said it just like that. I could feel the energy going bum, 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 bum all day long. Like, I can tell you're overwhelmed.
Wow. So he had the sensitivity.
Yes. But still the empowered masculine of like, hey, I'm here. When you're ready, I'm attuned to you, I've got you.
That's hot.
It doesn't always come out that cleanly, let me be very clear. But that is a good example. For me, that was like really healthy masculinity at that moment that wouldn't have been possible if he still subscribed to men don't have emotions, men need to be logical. I can't, a lot of, wounded masculine will say to women, at least in my clients, they'll say, I don't understand your emotions, you need to be logical. And that completely, like, to the heart of the femininity, because that is one of the most beautiful parts of her. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I love that you shared that example, because also, how connected do you feel, even like in a more like what happens in your body when a man takes that space of like being sensitive to your emotions, validating them, being in the middle of it with you, staying there, holding the space, like inviting you to share?
Yeah.
Like what naturally occurs? For me, I was just like, oh, that's hot when guys do that.
Connectedness.
Like, yeah, it hits a really core need, I think.
Yes.
For women. And whether the downstream effect of that is better physical intimacy or just better connection, like
it's definitely better physical intimacy.
I mean, that will get in the way. It's a very like logical progression. I don't know how else to say it, but like, yeah, this is a great example of what masculinity looks like when it's empowered and expressing from a integration of feminine energy. Beautiful example. Yeah, like the idea that men don't cry. That is actually a really healthy display of masculine energy. To cry, that I am aware of what's happening. I'm tuned in. Like there are things that are being either asked of me that are challenging and or things that are needing to be felt, and to lead in emotion can be a really masculine quality. Not, crying out of overwhelm. That you can handle your emotions how you need to when you're feeling overwhelmed. But like this is the example of like your wife is sick, your parent passes away, your something happens at work. There's a big transition of leaving I'm trying to think of powerful examples that we think of,
like a transition period where there's a lot of grief, a loss of a parent, friend,
coming home
career.
From battle. Like there are things that need to be cleansed from your body that don't make you a woman. It's still very much grounded in masculine energy.
Yes.
To feel deep rooted feelings.
Yeah. I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. It is so much easier to push down your emotions. To me, that is the easiest thing in the world. What takes real courage and strength is to feel them. And that reframe, I think, is really helpful, at least for the men that I work with and that I know, to see their emotionality and their attunement to themselves and their partner as strength. It is not easy. It would have been way easier for my partner to be like, you can see that you're emotional, you should go deal with that and come back with logic. Yeah, which is what we've perfected doing. Like, what a healing thing. Yes. For women, we've learned to do that because men couldn't hold us. And for him to sit in the fire like that, while it's also kind of not a criticism of him, but was me saying like, this was an ouch. When these words came. And for him to stay there and hold it takes enormous strength, much easier to dismiss. So emotional intelligence and feeling, expressing, emoting as men, huge courage, huge bravery, especially in the world that we live in today that teaches men that they should be shamed for that. It's absurd. And yeah, it's just so powerful to feel your feelings as a man or a woman.
Wow. Yeah. Anything else that's shown up differently in terms of energy versus like what we would think of masculine action or even feminine action would be?
We're going to talk about this.
I know.
Do you want to take it away? Or
would we do a whole episode on that?
We might need to.
We might need to.
Shall we say a little bit?
Brief. We'll be brief and then we'll unpack it more.
Do you want to? I feel like I've been talking a lot.
No, go for it.
Okay.
Inspire me.
Yeah. I also just want to debunk this idea that there's an action or a thing you can do that will be more masculine or feminine when it's not really about action. It's about the energy that you come from. So I can give you loads of examples of this. I was saying to Courtney earlier, there are women who I'm currently taking dance lessons, loving it. there are times when I'm so deep in my masculine, where dancing should be a more feminine action by societal standards, but I am like control, thinking about steps, not in my sensuality at all. There are other times when I'm dancing where I feel so deep in my feminine sensuality presence and in my body. So it really just depends on the energy that you're coming from. There are times when you can work out at the gym where you feel so deep in your masculine. There are other times where you can go to the gym and work out and you're like, let me feel all my muscles, my presence, the energy in the room. For men, you know, you can do certain actions. I'm trying to think of a good example.
Right.
For masculinity. And I'm drawing a blank, so we'll just table it for now. But the point is, the actions don't make you masculine. Like, for example, like you could be standing up for yourself and setting a boundary and feel like you're being really empowered when you're actually internally, the energetic experience is dumping and trying to control and like wounded. I just can't do it and you need to fix everything. Here, you take it. You know, so where the action of setting a boundary is more masculine energy, if it's coming from a wounded feminine space, that's very different, right? So we're really, I realize this is a wonky kind of explanation, but we're just trying to discern that there are actions and energy are different things, and you just can't fake an energy. People can feel from you when you're in your empowered feminine or your empowered masculine and when you're faking it. Like example I gave earlier was if a woman's saying, I just want to lean, I'm just going to not text him, I'm going to lean back, I'm going to let him come to me, but her internal experience is, I hope he picks me, I hope he chooses me, why isn't he texting me, what's he doing, does he not like me, am I not good enough? You're not in your empowered feminine. You think your action is, but the energetic exchange is very, very different, and that's actually what counts. Not the display.
Yes, same thing. Better example for the masculine energy is when a parent passes away and you are grieving. It is a very masculine leadership quality to express your emotion instead of stonewalling or being, you know, going and taking care of that on your own. If that's how you need to do it, that's understandable. And know that the energy is still very masculine. You're still leading by letting your heart break and letting it be seen. Like, this is a significant moment, and you're actually leading the whole room in not trying to hide it or stuff it down or take care of it on your own. That's been my experience with people who have passed, and seeing men cry or mourn or grieve. That's a hard emotion for a lot of men. And I felt so safe in their presence. That's what I wanted to say earlier. There's a level of safety as the feminine witnesser of that comes when I see you congruent with what you're feeling. Like when there's a dissonance of like, your parent just passed away, it's okay if you need to cry, and you're like, nope, I'm fine, it's fine, I'm just gonna chop some wood. Okay, it doesn't feel safe for me. I'm like, what? Something's going on, I'll let you take care of it because I trust you. And there's an invitation to meet together when you're saying like, I just feel really sad right now. That makes sense.
It's the lack of integrity.
It is. It's a very,
that's the word we're searching for.
Yes.
Your actions are not in integrity with how you're really feeling, and the counterpart, your partner, can feel it. Same as a woman like putting on a dress and saying, I'll feel more feminine. Maybe you will feel more feminine in this, but there are also lots of women who walk around in dresses who are presenting very masculine, you know? So, just like there are kind of like the nice guy energy, where men have more feminine energy, they can walk around in suits or whatever you perceive as masculine, or they can go out and chop wood, or whatever like societal masculine image you have, but be in their feminine. And the counterpart, other people, can feel it. You know, looks like masculine, walks like masculine, but not. Looks like feminine, walks like feminine, but why does it feel like it's that little inkling that happens? And you probably, as a listener, you probably perceive this all the time in people. Like, why do I feel like I just don't trust him or her? Why does it feel like she's displaying this? You know, it's easier for me to find feminine examples because I know what I've done, and I know what, you know, my friends and what we do when we're in our wounded. Yeah, such a great point. So all that to say,
polarity will break down if
Yes.
you're incongruent with what is happening internally. And this doesn't mean that you have to be, like, ideally we would be, you know, able to experience things in real time and reveal that with our partner. That takes a lot of practice and a lot of trust being developed. Depending on where you're at in your relationship progression, that might be, it might look more like I'm going to take care of this on my own and come back to you when I've cleaned it up and distilled it. Awesome. And when we are actually congruent with how we're feeling and we honor how we're feeling inside and are able to express that, the polarity exchange feels clean and feels mutually supportive. Like we both get to thrive in the same time.
Agreed. And it will fluctuate, and it's not something you would take in like a PhD, right? It's moment by moment attunement to yourself and your partner, and then lots of conversation and checking in and inner work on your own healing. It means forever and ever, amen. You try to come into more healthy, conscious partnership.
Yeah.
We're so in sync.
If you loved this episode,
Then you should follow us on YouTube, TikTok, our individual accounts on Instagram,
Yep.
at Courtney_Shand, at Building Bree, BRI. And you can also grab our master classes.
subscribe to our newsletter.
Yes.
We send out personalized video content that you don't get anywhere else.
Challenges every month.
Every month.
Yes. It's juicy.
We will let you know about the master classes. We'll be announcing them there first, and you get the characteristics of what men and women love about each other. We'll hold our TikTok audience. That's like gold. Anyways, I think it's amazing. Feel free to sign up for that. That link will be in our bio. Anything else?
If you want to work with Courtney or I, just go to our websites, CourtneyShand.com,
Yep.
BuildingBree.com,
Yep.
BRI. And both of our offerings are up to date there, yeah?
Yes.
Cool. So we
Yep.
both have one-to-one support. We have programs. I know Courtney has a program for men at
Yes.
this minute.
Yep.
That I do not have.
Men and women. It's the inner support that you need to be expressing these things consciously.
Yes. So visit our website, check it out. Come back for more. We are in the top 10% of Spotify's most followed podcasts. That's crazy to me. Proud of us for that. So we hope you're one of them. We're so grateful you're here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.